We brought him home from hospital and we thought it was going to be pretty easy as we have an older girl, and she's 4.5. And it wasn't. I think we'd forgotten more than what we'd remembered. It's helped me to understand my baby, really, to speak his language, to know what he's been saying, what he wants, what he needs. He's happier. He's a calmer, more contented baby. There's less stress. I won't say we're not quite as tired as we probably could be. We're not yelling at each other. A bit more unified in how we deal with Zach. Yeah, just in our behaviour towards each other, towards our family. Yeah, just a more contented relationship. It's like he's more confident, if that's the right word, in telling us what he needs. And because we can pick it up easier, we're more confident. And so he's just a happier little bub.
You know, I started the Dunstan system when he was approximately about 6 weeks old. Before that, it was all really a total mess. Every time he cried, I just fed him, you know, not knowing what else to do, and just sort of crossed my fingers and hoped that he'd fall asleep. It was really just all a guessing game, and you get conflicting advice from so many different people. You know, it's amazing that, you know, how many people want to give you advice when you're a mother. But then after I learnt the system, I was able to, recognise that, yes, he was in fact hungry, or he was tired, or he needed a burp. I was sort of getting a little depressed, you know, I'd have a cry. I just couldn't manage on my own. It's just completely opposite to what it was. You know, I'm much more relaxed and just enjoying motherhood.
The Dunstan baby method definitely made life easier for both of us. I was clearly able to distinguish the sounds that in his cries, which definitely made it. I took the guesswork out of you know, what was actually happening on a daily basis, and it kind of helps you to keep your day a lot smoother, so you're not putting up with a lot of screaming that you just have no idea why. I think he's a lot calmer because you're calmer, because you've got a lot more understanding about why he's actually crying, and then therefore you have a lot calmer baby because of that. That made it a lot smoother, and it was an instant change. In the beginning, I think because you're so uncertain and it's also new, there's not as much enjoyment as you may have expected. I expected it to have a lot more enjoyment component to it, and I kind of felt like that was lacking, and maybe it was me. And then once you picked up the differences in the cries and things were a lot calmer and you're a lot happier, yeah, it just felt a lot better. Felt like you could enjoy the baby.
It was just great because I was getting so much different information from so many different sources, and I didn't understand why the baby was continuously crying, and I couldn't work out so much. There was just so much to learn. Then it was given to me, and then from then on I was just flying. I knew what my baby needed. I felt so smart, and I felt like my baby was calmer because of it. I felt like I had a bit of intelligence when I had absolutely no knowledge about babies or anything. Coming from a Greek background, your mother always has to say what they think is wrong. She'll be holding the baby, he's crying, and she'll say, "I think he needs water." And you'd look at her and go, "No, Mum." And you'd take him, you'd burp him, a burp would come out, there'd be silence, and then that was it. Your mum would just look at you and go, "Okay, Rita." Because you always feel like they must know better, and they always make you feel like they know better, but this was one area that they just didn't know better. And you knew, and you could prove it.
To hear that something was out there that we could understand a little bit more about our baby's needs was very exciting. It was amazing how much we could just pick up of what was really happening to us day in, day out in terms of the noises that Declan was making, and being able to properly understand them. It's hard for me because I'm at work and I'll come home and I want to play with him and spend as much time with him as I can, but when he starts making the noises showing that he's tired, he really needs to go down for a sleep for a while. Just to be able to pick up on that, I think, makes it much easier to care for his needs properly. You hear the sounds, you can recognise that in your own children, and you settle accordingly. Our baby, from a relatively early age, once we started, recognising what his needs were, has been sleeping through the night. Everyone sees our child really as being a very placid, calm and relaxed sort of baby, and initially he wasn't. He did have issues that we couldn't properly address, but I do think the sound recognition of the Dunstan system's helped us out.
It made a big difference with her because I didn't pay much attention to the burping, I think, before I learned about the Dunstan system. With the system, it gave me more time with her playing. She got more active in between instead of just crying all the time. We would have more moments for ourselves and have a bit of a play, and that was really nice. It's pretty tough in the beginning because you don't get to sleep, you don't have much time to communicate with your partner. He was really amazed after a week that she was just sitting there quietly and we were having dinner. That was the first time, and yeah, he was very happy about it.
I think to a certain extent with the others, I've had children that cry a lot. They all seem to cry a fair bit. And I haven't felt as guilty having Catherine cry this time. Most of the time she seems to cry because she's hungry. And I haven't felt bad getting her up to feed her and don't feel like I'm feeding her too much. It's made it easy because she will go to bed and just fall asleep, and she will just have her playtime without me racing her off and feeding her or forcing her into bed or things like that. My husband, he's benefited because there's times where he'll say, oh, she's hungry, I can't do anything there, so he's happy. You go get her, you fix it up. And with me, in the reverse, it's helped with being able to say, I can have a bit of time out. How about you give her a cuddle? There's no reason he can't help out. And it's really nice for him to be involved in ways as well. He does have a bit of a standard where he doesn't do too much with the kids until they've finished breastfeeding. So once they're 12 or 13 months old, then he'll really get involved. And this time he has been involved a bit more, and I think he's enjoyed that as well. It certainly has given me confidence that I wish I had 6 years ago with my first.
It helped tremendously for those first, couple of months, just getting to know what she wanted, how to handle her, and I think it was probably the best thing that we ever did. I think she's probably just a lot calmer in herself. She knows that we're going to tend to her needs immediately, and she's not waiting, an hour or two before we work out what she's wanting.
I think being able to be calm when you're taking care of her, not getting stressed out because you know what your job is. So the stress that she has when she's crying, it doesn't go on to you because you can solve the problem and then the crying stops.
We certainly didn't have any time for each other in those first couple of months. We were quite selfish people beforehand, so we missed that time that we had together. But now, again, kind of 5, 6 o'clock at night, she's asleep and we don't hear from her, for the rest of the night, and that's our time together. And it's definitely great. Oh, it's just made it easier. It's made life easier. I've got confidence that I didn't know I'd have, having a 4-month-old child and feeling like I'm in control of the situation.
I was quite agitated and getting, what's wrong. I'm trying everything I know. So what more can I sort of do? So, yeah, definitely it made me feel that I was helping her more, so then I was more relaxed, and then she feels that. Before, if she woke, I'd be up and I'd probably wake her up for longer than she needed to be. But with sort of listening more carefully, you could sort of say, OK, well, she's just got a bit of a pain, and I can then burp her or do something with her and get her off back to sleep. If I'd had it with the first child, it would have been very, very helpful to a new mother, because you just have no idea. So yeah, I think he's noticed that I was calmer with her, and it was much quicker to settle her. She was crying. You feel more in control, which is a good thing, because you can really feel out of control.
To be honest, if I had known this language with my first child, it would have made life a little bit easier. It's definitely helped me communicate with my baby, understand what she needs from me, what she wants, and that then gives us more time to play and be relaxed around each other, rather than wondering why she's crying and why she's unsettled. It makes life easier. I'm not sitting there wondering, what does she want? What does she need from me? It basically works straight away.
I was completely overwhelmed with our first child. Completely overwhelmed. I had no idea. None whatsoever, but I'm sure that's like most first-time mums. I had read all the books and thought I had it together, and, you know, got home and the support system sort of left, and my God, what do you do? You know, there were nights there where, where I was just crying, you know, a lot of the night, because I just had no idea what this baby wanted. It's easier to figure out what they want quicker.
Overall, family life is a lot better, that's for sure, using the Dunstan system. I mean, this time around with Zach, there's definitely, there's a better relationship between Lisa and I. The
stress levels that we had with Sabina just aren't there at all, because we know what he wants, we know what he needs. Sabina knows what he wants and knows what he needs, because we all talk about the sounds and what that means. Joyful? Yeah, really joyful, because I've been able to enjoy my baby more.
Ava was quite unsettled and I guess crying a lot, and I didn't really know what her cries were meaning, and I didn't always know how to respond to her in the most appropriate way. I definitely felt stressed and anxious and probably wasn't enjoying being a mother. Sleep deprived, tired, and really unsure. Well, I thought, wow, could this really be possible? Is there really something out there that can kind of help you communicate with your baby or help you understand your baby from that early stage? I think I was at a point where, yeah, you're willing to try anything and you're willing to see, get any help you can to try and understand what your baby's trying to say to you. It was really helpful, because when she needed to be burped, I would persist with it until she burped, knowing that that's what she needed, rather than maybe trying to feed her again before she burped. It sort of made it a little bit more clear-cut, and I felt like I had some guidelines to work within, rather than it just be completely overwhelming and completely unknown. It sort of felt like it was, yeah, more manageable.
You know that he's crying and this is what he wants, rather than he's screaming and we can't figure it out, and yeah, it's just a bit more calming as well. His sleep cry was very distinctive, so you knew straight away that's what he wants. So you could wrap him up, put him into bed, cover him up and just leave him to it, basically. It meant he's more in a routine, so it meant that we could get more stuff done around the house, because there's so much more to do with a baby. If only I'd have known this with my first one, it would have been so much more easy.
It was 3 years since I had my first, so learning everything again was quite difficult, I guess. I thought it was a good idea, but I was a bit sceptical as well, thinking that, you know, how could we understand what babies were trying to say, or their cries, what they meant. He actually had colic, so to understand that he needed to burp was a huge thing for us. Yeah, we're not stressed anymore, so yeah, it was really good. It was helpful for myself, but also for my husband as well, and also our daughter, because all she could hear was him crying and didn't know why, and he's not crying as much anymore. Yeah, he actually watched it the second time with me, and yeah, he was quite interested then. He tries to tell me what's wrong with him before I know, so he's a happier baby and whole. He's not crying as much, because I know what he needs straight away with the different sounds. Yeah, I think he's a much happier baby now.
I guess it's just because you're very unsure about what you should be doing. You're getting a lot of advice from a lot of people, and it does tend to conflict, and you feel quite confused by the advice.
It's amazing to actually have something that allows you to make the decisions yourself based on what you can see and hear and what your baby's displaying.
Once you could hear what the root cause of the crying actually was, it was a lot shorter. So then you weren't sort of looking at each other saying, why is he crying, what's wrong with him?
I was always worried that I wouldn't actually be as involved as what I am. But with the cues that I received from Joshua, it's so much easier, and I feel that I'm absolutely involved. There's nothing like it. It really is amazing.